All right, it's 6 p.m. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If we could have the roll call, Madam Recorder.
Alderwoman Payne.
Here.
Alderman Malone.
Here.
Alderwoman Key.
Here.
Vice Mayor Adams.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
All right, if everyone could stand for prayer. Alderwoman Keith, and if we could and remain standing for the pledge. Chief, thank you.
In the name of Jesus. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord, in the only way that we know how, asking you to please forgive us for all of our sins. Lord, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for how you look beyond our many, many faults and you see our needs. Father God, I ask that you look down on each and every one of us. Lord, you know all about us. You know what we stand in need of. Lord, I ask that you will bless us, bless the balance of our family. Lord, bless our community. Lord, please bless our board. Lead us, guide us, and direct us in the path that you help us to go. And Father God, every decision we make, Lord, let it be pleasing unto you. And God, I'll be so careful to give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. In Jesus' holy name we pray. And everybody said amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone.
It goes too fast.
At this time, we'll go ahead and open the first session of public comments. 3 minutes, name and address.
Good evening. James Roberts, 231 Lakeview Drive, Bluff City, Tennessee.
Good evening.
There we go. I'd like to begin tonight by addressing the board regarding the special call meeting that happened on June 18th. At that meeting, Captain Shane Watson from Bluff City Police Department informed the board that Lieutenant Bays spearheaded an investigation involving a senior Bluff City citizen whom was the target of a scam. He conveyed how distraught this citizen was over the loss of her life savings and how grateful she was for the assistance that the assurance that the department would do everything in its power to assist her. Lieutenant Bays coordinated across federal agencies and state lines and was able to intercept and recover $20,000 of this citizen's life savings. Captain Watson continued and gave an impassioned presentation informing the board of the fiscally superior opportunities available to Bluff City officers and stressed retention as a paramount concern. At the outset of his presentation, the board did not acknowledge the accomplishment of Lieutenant Bays, nor did it call for a press release. In fact, the first response from this board was to inquire about the contractual obligations of our officers. And then to tell Captain Watson, it's pitiful. I wish we could be more competitive, but because we're small, we can't. That was after the board was able to pad accounts by more than $12,000, citing that anything unused will be rolled into the general fund at a later date. As a citizen, I was viscerally incensed at how Lieutenant Bays, above and beyond duty and action, could be so callously overlooked. I was ashamed that a concerned and city employee with 10 years of service could come before this board with a concern that affects the operational ability of his department, the safety of our community as a whole, and the fiscal liability of all Bluff City residents. And be met with such dismissal and a lack of accountability. It is the duty of this board to accept that accept that accountability and find the means when and where necessary. Captain Watson conveyed that the Bluff City employee pool contained a value, and the board didn't acknowledge it. The board did have time, however, to review irrelevant formatting errors in the budget printouts. It also had time to audit budgetary items as small as $50. Perhaps a simple thank you for bringing this to our attention. We will look harder, and we will find a way to support our employees. Instead, would have been a better response. But we met with, didn't we just buy you 3 police cars, cameras, tasers? Yes, the board did purchase those items, though it was only to minimally equip our department to the standards in which they can operate safely and perform their duties. Also, the members of this board have been overstepping and delving into the minutia of daily town operations, and they have overstepped their essential function. Our charter calls for a town manager, and we have had the pleasure of an overqualified one for some time. Our town manager has fielded calls from board members on multiple occasions, encouraging the dismissal of employees without cause, fielding repetitive FOIA requests, and board members, from board members for information not relevant to the current board business. She has fielded inquiries from state agencies, private organizations, citizens, and other board members alike, expressing concern on harassing attempts by other board members to solicit and interject. With an impending new town manager, we now, more than ever, need to exercise caution and restraint. We need to vet applicants and ensure the town is represented by a town manager who operates at the pleasure of the board, but is able to withstand intimidation and harassment by individual members, just as our current manager has done. Just because the town manager serves at the pleasure of the board does not mean that the town manager should be influenced by the board when it is done in a way that can adversely affect the town. In closing, I want to inform and remind the board that they have a town manager charter and not a town administrator charter. As such, the board needs to allow the appointed town manager to perform the duties of the job in the manner that does not rise to a hostile or oppressive work environment. Please be mindful as you move forward with a new town manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? All right. We'll go ahead and end the first session of public comments. Now we're going to move on to discussion and action. The second reading and public hearing, ordinance 2025-007. Mr. Fry.
An ordinance to amend appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, for the purchase of 100 M25 disc meters. Whereas the authorization of $30,500 will be used for the purchase of 100 M25 disc meters for this fiscal year. Be it therefore ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Bluff City, Tennessee, that ordinance 2024-003 as to line item 413, water sewer, be amended as follows: $1,155,325.
All right, we'll now open this up for a public hearing if anyone would like to speak. All right, since no one would like to speak, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and have the discussion if you all would like to discuss or make a motion.
Motion to approve purchase of the meters.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-007 by Vice Mayor Adams.
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Johnson. Could we please take a vote, Madam Recorder?
Alderwoman Payne,
Yes.
Alderman Malone,
Yes.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Adams,
Yes.
Alderman Johnson.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 2025-007 has passed. Now we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Discussion and action, contract for Terry Butcher to administer defensive driving school for the Bluff City Police Department. As you all have seen in your deliverable, there was the agreement. I also have it printed here if anyone would like to read it before we proceed, and we can open for discussion. If you have any questions, Mr. Butcher is here, as is Chief Depew. I have a question. Approximately how many classes do you have a month?
Last year was just one a month. This year is 2 a month for every month except for June. There was only one in June. But the rest of them have 2. And I don't know if Dean is planning on putting any more in as we're getting busy.
We can do about 25 per class. We don't want no more than that per one instructor. So if it gets above that, then we'll have to look at doing 3. And it's a possibility we can get there.
Right now, it's pushed out to August. July is full. Of course, June is full. So right now, we're pushing out. We're full until August. So, I mean, it's busy.
And you're finding that people take this as an option rather than taking the points on their license for tickets.
Absolutely. Points on their license, and it doesn't hit their insurance. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Much benefit.
How long does usually the class last?
It's a 4-hour class, but they opt to not take breaks, so we knock an hour off right there, so 2 to 3 hours.
The other day, somebody told somebody to bring a bill and something to drink, so I wasn't sure.
Rude.
The state standard is 4 hours.
Jean-Ann, do you think that we need, or in the future, we need like 3 classes a month?
I mean, very well a possibility, yes. Depending on volume, yeah.
If that 3rd class, could it actually at least have anywhere from 12 to, well, at least 15 in it?
Oh, yeah. 15,
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. 25 is, I mean, it's packed at 25, yeah.
So,
One, 2, we've been operating with, the one that's been in the academy, so bringing him back, you're going to see enough tickets.
Definitely,
So
yeah,
there's a possibility of 3.
for sure.
I'm ready, bring them on.
So if you understand you've been doing these, I guess, before for nothing?
Well, I've been doing them since June of last year.
Yeah, once a year.
I've seen your face. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure who's doing what.
You've seen his face, Jerry. You remember that.
Well, imagine if he's doing driving
I
school.
posted you in the parking lot.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
that he remembers you.
Yep.
I remember you from
Yeah.
several years ago.
So we're looking basically $2,400. That's right, $100 a class. So if we do 2 a month, that's $2,400. Does that come out of the administrative budget, or does that come out of the police budget?
That should come out of general fund, correct? Because special police fund, it comes out of general fund.
General fund it is.
Yes.
Well, the entire police department comes out of general funds.
And if I can, I'll add something else to kind of give you a better idea. Not everybody qualifies for driving school. So if you have a CDL, can't take it. If you've had driving school in the last 12 months, per the judge's order, can't take it. So if you've got, say, 100 tickets and 30% of those, they've got CDLs or they've had it within the last 12 months, they're knocked out. They can't qualify for it. So the people that do qualify, they don't have CDLs license. They haven't had it within 12 months. So they're in class. They do qualify. So not all of these tickets that are being written qualify for driving school. So we're qualifying when they come in.
Could you also tell us how much it is per person to take the class?
Yes.
So speeding citation is $188.50. It's any moving violation that qualifies for driving school. So speeding, stop sign violation is $158.50.
How much is a driving
How
school?
much is the school?
That's what I'm getting to.
Oh,
So speeding plus the ticket is $261. So the speeding gets knocked down to $161. The class is $100. So if you have stop sign ticket, that's $158.50. It gets knocked down to $138.50. plus $100 class. Your class fee is always $100.
Always 100, so,
Always 100.
so it's
that $100
$2,500.
yeah,
Okay.
pretty much, in retrospect, yeah.
But we're bringing in $2,500 each one of those classes.
So one person pays for the class.
Yes.
So if we have 25 people or 26 people or 23,
yes.
it's,
And we're still making money off of it.
so.
Thank you.
That sounds fair. My goodness, I think I'm going to make a motion that we approve this at $100, and I hope you have another third class. We can bring in that mullah.
Oh, whatever Thursday.
Motion to approve Mr. Butcher's contract by Alderwoman Payne.
I second it.
A second by Alderwoman Keith. Could we take a vote, Madam Town Recorder?
Alderwoman Payne,
Yes.
Alderman Malone,
Yes.
Alderwoman Key,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Adams,
Yes.
Alderman Johnson.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're legit.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the next item, discussion and action. I was asked to put this on, so if you all will give me guidance. Contract for town manager. I'm going to open this up for discussion.
Well, I would like to say, if I may, sometimes you got to take a trip down memory lane. And last night, I watched the video of the night that we hired you. Very painful to watch. So I just want to take the time and say thank you for stepping up to the plate. Sometimes we forget and become ungrateful, but Alderman Ben and myself, and you, Lori, on the board, and Jerry, you was too, and we know what we went through. It was rough. So I just want to say thank you for stepping up to the plate. And let's not forget the good that people do. It's so easy to forget. So the ones that's been there for you and the ones that's stood with you and helped you, don't forget that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Sheila, you got anything to say? Give her the microphone.
I can speak pretty loud, as long as everybody can hear me. So, kind of like the Madam Mayor said, I'm not quite sure the discussion topic for this, but thank you, Alderwoman Keith, for your kind words. When I first started here, I promised this board one thing, and that was that I would come in, I would help, I would do the best that I can, and I would stay here as long as the board would have me until the position could be filled and do a proper turnover. I'm happy to continue doing that. I think together, over the past 8 to 9 months, we have done some phenomenal things. Had a little road bumps, but that happens. I think we, going through this budget session, have identified a lot of potential for some things in the community. We've also identified some things that the community wants to see. We've talked about roads and infrastructure. There's a lot of good things to come. And I'm just thankful to be a part of that and to help out as much as I can. And I'm happy to be here. And I just appreciate, everybody's support and all the help that we've had, and hope that we can continue just as a town to keep moving forward and have some great things happen. I think the best is yet to come. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank
I would
you.
just like to really quickly, and not really quickly, but I would just like to point out when we were going through just a turbulent time, I was having discussions with Michelle's husband, and it was regarding another situation, and I just couldn't get over how meticulous he was, how studied he was. He really wanted to learn, and I thought, boy, this could answer a lot of our problems. And I asked him, is this something you would consider? We're looking to make a change. What do you think? And he said, I'll give it some thought. I'm going to talk it over with my family. And I got a call the next day, and it was James. And he said, I would like to thank you for thinking of me in this way, but I've got to let you know there's somebody way more qualified than me who would do a much better job than me, who is without a doubt, the right person for the job. And I said, I'm all ears, and he said it would be my wife. And so that is the story behind how we got to where we are today. And I am eternally grateful to James for having I'm not even sure what to call it, just the appreciation for what his wife could do and can do. And I'm grateful because she took on something that was very tough in the beginning, and she had nothing to go on, and I would like to say thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
We agreed on this whenever we originally sat down, and I was reminded by the mayor that I referred to this as a contract, but our agreement was through June 30th, and that is exactly why it's on the agenda tonight. And Michelle is 6 days away from June the 30th. We are advertising currently right now through MDAS for people that have experience as city managers, and we want to take a look at what that they have to offer. Actually, we should have already hired a city manager. We started out, and it stated it would take 6 months. That was what our previous mayor stated. So we're now at 8 months, and now that we're in our budget, and dollars are very critical, and they mean everything. So, and since the mayor has now an office over here and has stepped in and is very aware of what is going on over here, and I'm sure that Michelle has taken her underneath her wing, I am proposing that June 30th will be the last day, and that the mayor, Madam Lori over here, will fill in as interim city manager. Once again, not as city manager, interim city manager, until such time as we hire one. Our new schedule now is within 3 months. And this is no reference, no reflection at all on Michelle. This is our way of saving more money. And I think this is in the best interest of the citizens that we can save this money. And I've seen Lori in action. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have called you Lori. I've seen the mayor in action, and I could see she can handle situations. Anytime I've called down here, she's been in a meeting with people. So she's quite versed in it. She's actually met with TDEC, a lot of places. So I will see if my fellow board members have anything else to say, and I'm going to turn it over to my fellow board members. Jerry?
I just really do want to say thank you. That was very kind. And I really have been in meetings. I assure you, when they tell you that, they're being truthful.
Oh, Lord, I didn't say anything. I said in meetings, yes.
Sandy worries she doesn't like to say anything that's not true, nor do these lovely ladies. But I just want you to know that, yes, it is true.
There was no innuendo meant there.
Okay.
So I really would appreciate it if you didn't take it that way.
No.
It certainly was not meant that way.
No.
So I'm surprised you even made a comment about it.
No, but it seems like I'm always in meetings, and that's it. A lot of times people just want to come in and chat. We had a gentleman who did that today. So, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Malone?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Get my thoughts together.
Anybody else?
Well, I went back and watched meetings, and that's kind of what I got from it. It was that we were going to pay through June 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah, end of June.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the board would already,
Already had.
you know, went and discussed it and came up with it. And before that, you know, we've already had one minor, but going back and watching the meetings, yeah, that was what I got from it.
Well,
We've come a long ways.
yes.
As I watched the video last night, all the applause when we hired the city manager, and now here we are today. I say all that to say this. We worked hard, and we wanted to separate those positions, mayor/city manager. And I know we got much work to do, And I'm not sure, and Mayor, you can let us know, is it going to require somebody full-time, part-time, or
The town manager position?
Yeah, you could help us with that. Is it a full-time position?
Well, when the previous board met with Mr. Auger and MTAS, he determined that it would be definitely a full-time position. The job would require full-time.
And what you observe in working is pretty full-time, or could it be part-time? Or?
I think it's full-time, but I think a lot of it's definitely a full-time job, as in there has to be time spent in town hall, but also and it's written in the job description, there are going to be things that the town manager is going to have to do outside of City Hall.
Yes, outside. I really believe that it's going to be 40 plus hours, but it's going to be a salary position, and they will need to understand that it is a 40 plus hours a week, not less than 40. So, Jerry?
What do you think?
Well, I think it's our fault we don't have somebody lined up to take the job.
Yes.
We drug our feet on it for months. We worked really hard to separate these positions because they need to be separate. I think the last time we combined the positions, it was in the name of saving money, and look where it got us. I think Michelle's done a fantastic job. I appreciate everything she's done. She's worked very hard. She's made a lot of sacrifices personally, professionally too, I'm sure. I mean, we're in the position we're in because we didn't do what we were supposed to do as a board. So I don't think Michelle should be in the position of, because we didn't hire somebody, like be just tossed aside because of the arbitrary time frame. I mean, a contract's a contract, don't get me wrong, but we should put something in place to continue having a city manager. I mean, no offense.
I take
to
that
you,
responsibility
I don't,
wholeheartedly.
I'm not saying that you don't have the ability to do that, but I don't want to get anywhere close to having a mayor/city manager again. If we really were serious about filling that position, we should have done it. I think what we should do is continue paying Michelle to do the job until we find somebody. And if we want to replace, then we need to get our hair on fire about finding a replacement, not create another city manager/mayor situation. Because what happens when nobody applies? Well, we're saying interim, but we don't.
They have.
It could be permanent. I haven't seen any applicants, and I haven't reviewed anything. So, I don't know if they're qualified or not. But what if they're not? And a year goes by, 2 years goes by, 3 years goes by, and we've got a city manager/mayor still. And then we get somebody elected that comes in here and does it Jeff Broyles again. I don't want that. Mm-hmm. So I think we committed to keeping the position separate. We dropped the ball and not getting the position filled. So I think we should stay committed to keeping those positions separated and commit ourselves to finding a replacement. And I think Michelle should stay in place in the meantime. That's my 2 cents.
Well,
And
I found the dragging the feet part, it was not the board that was dragging their feet on this. So and I do have some feelings about that. I repeatedly asked for this to be put on the agenda and finish our job description and then turn it over to MTAS. 8 months was simply too long for this, and we are not going back. It is simply for a short time. The new projection now is 3 months, and I feel strongly about this, and I'm going to go ahead and just make a motion that June 30th is the last day for Michelle, and that Lori will resume the interim city manager position until we fill a position. And that does, I hate to say it, it saves us money. And money is the topic of our budget. So I make a motion.
Okay, excuse me, Alderwoman Payne. Okay, you did state that it would need to be full-time, though. You would think that we need somebody full-time or part-time, and the reason why I'm asking is, if it is part-time, and if we've got good department heads that can reach out, and you're going to be in office too, correct? I mean, that would help a lot, wouldn't it? My concern is, and I think everybody knows what my concern is, I maintain who I am. I don't care who you are. I want everybody treated fair. Everybody, including me. Okay? So that's my concern. And with a city manager, I mean, they got a responsibility. And we all got to be held accountable. And it's much work to do. And Bluff City, we come a long ways. And we can do it. We can do it together. United and not be divided. And move forward. But we can't go back to these old ways. We've got to move forward and do things right. Because if we don't do things right, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I just feel like this is our time, and this may be our last chance to get it right.
I agree.
Because you're not going to always have an Alderman Adams on the board, or an Alderwoman Lori, or Alderwoman Carroll, or even a Chief Depew, or an Officer Shane that's going to stand up and do what's right. So this is our time. We've got a decision we need to make. And it's not about who like who or what. It's about doing what's right.
This is business. There's nothing personal involved in this. This is strictly business. And also the board does need to sit down and actually what we failed to do, and that is to take another step here and make sure that we are separating from the mayor to the city manager, and then the duties that fall within the mayor, not the mayor, I'm sorry, the city manager. Like it was brought up that our city manager is not going to have 100% control, because there's many things that I personally feel should have been brought in front of the board members. So that is also one of my concerns. But that's something that the board has got to sit down and work on. So I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Jared.
Well, I guess somebody has to be the good guy, bad guy, whatever. And it's a really hard decision, because I've thought about it a lot and stayed away from a lot of stuff, and I've tried to help what I can or do know. I must say that the work that Michelle has done, and the people that she's talked to, most of them, has dealt with, says it's very professional and very upstanding, and didn't have any problem with those and stuff. The problem that I guess I'm having with, personally with myself, is that I made the statement that when we hired you, or agreed on, that you would have enough time to do it, and I didn't hear about your other job. I was interested in the job you're doing here. And I feel that now that things have changed with the government and the pressure is put on the other job, it's led you to where enthusiasm and the stuff that you really had your heart into doing for Bluff City, you can't do this on that scale. It's I have a lot of calls, and they say, I call and call and call. I asked, and she's not there. Don't return the call. She's not here. She can't call you back, is to be able to come in here, and I know we've got some projects, have some projects, but it just seemed like the stuff that people want to relate and call and got a complaint, it never gets any further, and it's just hanging. I've got 2, maybe 3, that I begged them not to go ahead and get a lawyer because they want to sue the city over people just not trying to take care of their needs in town. Of course, budget-wise, I started in December and trying to get some figures and stuff together, and we end up getting it in whatever month it says, May, I guess. And so I figured that should have come. And I'm just going to put it on the table, what I think. So, I mean, nothing personal. But, and I know it was very important that y'all was gone for last week. And the week before, you had people in, and a lot of people wasn't very thinking, and the week before that, you went to the beach. So when we're desperate here with the budget and problems and stuff coming up, you weren't available, and that's the reason I'm thinking. And I know that, stuff on it, and people says, how come I can't leave a week and get paid for it? I don't know if you got your full pay or you turned in less hours or more. I didn't ask. I don't know. With it, just to do it, and just didn't think that the projects, even little projects or big projects, had just been left over and going to the next one, and sort of taking care of what you can, and the rest of it just rolling off. And so I feel for dollar-wise and stuff, I'm not thinking, is it, that are we getting for $1,050 a week? Are we getting $1,050 worth a week? I mean, to you might think it's cheap, and we're getting a bargain. I don't know. I just look at the budget and coming in, and we're at the end of the budget. Bristol, Kingsport, Sullivan County, Washington County, all of them is having their first or second reading on their budget. We're kind of behind the 8 ball and tried to push it through, but still behind. So I think Sharon will pull us to what we need for the rest of that. So that's kind of where I'm torn. I mean, I think if you was a full-time city manager, you'd blow it out of the water. But I just, feel that, your job that you got to have for your benefits to feed your family and stuff has got to be first priority. And that's where it is. It's kind of got me torn. I mean, between, I know you're capable of doing the job, but I just don't think we're getting our money's worth, per se.
Well,
Do I get to rebut?
Please.
Can I say something? First, please. Okay, you've got mostly good department heads, correct?
Oh, not most. Our department heads are fantastic.
Okay.
Right.
If they got a problem, they contact you.
Absolutely.
You are available, right?
Days, nights, and weekends.
Even at the beach.
Okay. So it looks like she's doing a job there.
Well,
Unless you know something I don't.
This position is, we
I'm
can't.
sorry, I asked for.
Oh, certainly. Go ahead. Oh.
I'm sure that in your examples of phone calls not being returned, you probably have, I don't know, 1, 2, 10. I don't know how many of those examples you might have, but I get messages from the ladies every time somebody calls, and I return those calls. So I would love to know whose calls I'm not returning. I would also like to say that you mentioned weeks and weeks and weeks of me not being here. I took 3 days for my anniversary with my husband to go to the beach. While we were driving, I held a phone call for close to 45 minutes, an hour, so we can get business done. Took care of communications while I was there on my vacation time. I'd like to know how many other people take vacation time at work while they're on their vacation. I bet a couple here I know do. Most people don't. I took days to go see my son graduate from Navy boot camp. And while I was there, I was fielding phone calls and taking care of things. I had my laptop with me. I checked in periodically. Except for that Thursday, when we were actually there and engaged in the ceremony, watching that young man become a United States sailor. And I will defend that to the end of this earth. As far as the projects, I don't care who you put in this position. We collectively, and I will say myself, were handed a pile of garbage in October. I've brought several things to this board and to these meetings to talk about infrastructure issues, to talk about equipment issues, to talk about so many things that were left in such disarray. And it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in a couple weeks. It didn't happen in a couple of years. This has been an ongoing problem. I could leave today and you're still going to have massive problems that need to be addressed, and they're not going to be fixed overnight. And no, Jerry, you're right. It's not perfect. We didn't fix them that fast. But this town has to understand we got a lot of issues, a lot of problems. You got a lot of people sitting right here who are working very hard to make those corrections. And to say that my heart is not in it, and then to say that the value isn't there. I worked for how many months without any expectation of a paycheck? When this board came together and said, well, let's talk about what we're going to pay our interim city manager. Did I sit here and demand anything from this board? Did I sit here and did I ever say, pay me now, pay me, or I'm not going to do my work? No, I came in here and I busted my butt. And what did I do it for? Did I do it for me? No. Do I come in and do I deal with all of the liability of the things for me? No, I do it for this town. I do it for the people that work here. I do it because I care a lot. And when I walk out that door and I'm no longer sitting here, guess what? I'm still going to be here caring a lot. So, board, please, absolutely make your decision. Make the best decision. I'm not here to beg for anything. I'm here to say, I'm here to help, or I'll help from the other side. Doesn't matter. But please, don't insinuate that I don't care and I don't throw my everything into it. Thank you.
I don't really think he was insinuating that you don't care.
That's what he said.
Okay.
That's what he said.
I know you care. I don't know if you have the time.
That's it.
You know, and that is something, you know, yeah, I don't know if you have the time.
And perhaps
And
somebody
that-
else has the time who would be capable of filling this position in another interim position.
No,
that was more of a question.
I'm just proposing it out there.
I think my suggestion that it fall to Lori until we hire someone, that's what I will be proposing on that. And like I said, this was not truly an easy decision. And we did retro pay you back to October the 9th when we discussed it. We did. We went back to October 9th. So all those days in which you did get paid, you did get paid. So when you say, I am going to make a motion that June 30th is Michelle's last day.
Mary, if I could ask something. How do you feel about it? You're able to step into that position for a minute, or can you handle it? Or, I mean, how do you feel about it? I want to know how you feel about it, your advice on it. And as mayor, what do you suggest?
So I'm clearly not as qualified at all. And I don't want to be the mayor/town manager. I don't like how that works. I understand why it's in the charter. Because should there be an accident or something horrific happen, somebody's going to have to take over just until somebody can be hired. I've tried to do my best to help because I thought that was the right thing to do without blurring lines of the mayor basically, just being a figurehead. But I've worked hard.
And you've done a great job.
And I'm willing to do it. I just don't want, I don't think this exit is befitting what Michelle took on for her. And she's my friend. I hope she's my friend. She did a lot for us, and I just think we can't let that go. I don't want to tarnish it.
I don't think we're tarnishing it, to be honest with you. We said June 30th, and that was 8 months ago. So.
Okay, so what I've heard so far is because we picked the date of June 30th, we've got to stick to that. I've heard what sounds like performance issues, which I disagree with being a problem. So what our plan is to get rid of the person who's done, in my opinion, a pretty damn good job since October. Throw it on somebody who doesn't really want it and go back to what we were doing before in the hopes that we're going to bring in yet another person who's going to have to learn how to do all the stuff and pick up. That's going to be inconsistency after inconsistency after inconsistency. I don't think that's a good plan for our town. Not because we picked an arbitrary date of June 30th, and taking vacations is not a performance issue in my mind.
And to be fair, it's not that I don't want to do it.
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
No, I will.
I'm just saying
I will do
the
what's best for
natural
the town.
Change would be that you would have to pick up all communications that she's been having with people on a regular basis, learn what those are, start having to take those over.
She already knows.
You can speak on her behalf if you want, but it's a transitional period. And you're saying it's a temporary one until we can transition again.
Well, we're going to hire a city manager unless what this board intends to do is to hire Michelle as a city manager.
I know it took us a long time to even get a job description. I haven't seen any applicants.
It just went out last week.
Okay, so we're going to put in an interim.
MTAS has some applicants already in. I did talk to Pete Auger about that, and he had been out of his office for about a week. So he said he felt sure that there were some more there.
Get rid of the person we have to punch in the dark on applicants that nobody's even seen yet.
Well, so then are we saying then stop the process of looking for a city manager?
Not at all. I'm saying Michelle stays in that seat until we hire someone else.
Well, I'm sorry. I want to save the money. So.
Well, we saved the money for decades, and it got us in a big pile of crap.
Well,
we got money. We got plenty of money in reserves to handle paying someone until we hire somebody in the next month or two. We can afford to do that.
Well.
I think we can afford that a whole lot more.
Can a citizen say something, please?
Well,
if she's qualified, when you have the applicants, you're going to look at all the applicants, right? Everybody applies for the job, you're going to look at it. Let her apply for the job. If she's the most qualified, then hire her. But the problem you've never advertised it that I've seen. I don't know if you're advertising it or not now. I've been looking for it online and everything, and I don't see it. But advertise it, but keep her on doing the job now. And if you're going to advertise it and hire the best person qualified that you can pay. And don't that make sense?
It is being advertised, and all the applicants are going through Mr. Auger at MTAS, and he's going to weed through them and then send them to us. That was the process.
Well, if
Michelle, are you going to apply for the job?
I'm not.
she is not, so
You're not?
she is not. The pay is not there.
So we're going to go back to a city manager interim.
For just about a month and a half.
You just said we're not paying enough, so we're not going to get. Then we're going to be back having the combined position again
Well,
because we can't pay enough to hire someone who's qualified, or we don't have qualified people applying.
Well,
we're trashing a bird in the hand for two in the bush.
She works 40 hours a week
something?
and then tries to do 30 hours a week down here. So,
Can you stay, Michelle, until they have somebody?
She said that.
well,
Okay, she said yes, though.
well, I still make my motion, and if the discussion is over, I make a motion.
It's not over.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So the employees make this town, okay? Why? I don't understand. So the employees make the town. We pretty much make the town run every day. Police, us up front, public works, what have you. Why shake that up? Because I feel like it's just rattling all the employees when you're changing all this. When we went from that in October to all that turmoil, and then Michelle came in and it smoothed everything out, and now it's just getting shook up again.
We still got some work to
like
do.
it's a big
We've got more work, yeah.
No, it shakes us up because some of the employees just feel like they don't know who to go to for an answer. Honestly. And
Well-
they're confused, and sometimes it's like, well, who do I talk to? That's not good.
Well, then that comes from the top, though. If they're confused, something's wrong there.
You keep changing the top.
Exactly.
We're not, come on. All right.
Carolyn, with all due respect, you don't know how it goes on in here. I mean, really, I've worked at the corporate level, I've worked in the box level and all that, and that's not how it works, because when you got public works coming in and they're wanting to talk to somebody, but then you got it all jumbled up and rattled when changes are going on every 6-8 months, you don't know who to turn to. It's not good. It's confusing, honestly.
And I'm sorry, but I'd like to speak on that too, because I absolutely agree with what she's saying.
It's not stable.
Employees. We try our best. If you've noticed, there's not been a lot of patrolling in these meetings because we made a decision to keep them out of here. We want to focus, we want to work them, we want to give them the best they can for town, and let us do stuff like this. Stability, we need. An uncertainty that we had before. And Michelle, if you want the job, you want to apply, that's your business. But Ben, I think what you're saying, I think, Carol, what you said, what people are saying until they do. I mean, like you said, you're just restarting. It shakes the employees. They don't know what to do. They don't know what's coming. They don't know who's applying. And that's the way I agree with everything she just said.
It's uneasy.
That's very stressful. When you don't know who to talk to, you reach out, they're not there.
Yeah, but Lori.
You have to have a go-to person.
Yeah, but Lori, they are so familiar with Lori now that that's not really going to be a problem down here.
Lori has stepped in and did an amazing job.
She's
Her
doing
and
good.
Michelle are
Yes.
friends, and they work great together. They support each other. Sometimes it takes two people supporting each other in a role like that.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. But anyways,
But it is. I mean, that's
well,
the way it is.
I mean,
Do you want to take over her job for no pay? Because that's
she
what I'm
said
hearing,
she
the
will.
option.
What was it? I'm going to leave that to the board.
She said she will. So look, we can end this right now. If we don't get a second, on this, then, and then, then it dies right here. But I make a motion that June 30th, and then Mayor Staton will be the mayor and the interim city manager, and will work closely, just the way Michelle has, with her department heads, who their departments are running smoothly. So, anybody want to make a second?
I didn't hear your first.
I made a motion.
Well,
Yes.
if I may say something, if Michelle was to work part-time and her mayor would still be like assistant helping out, being city manager when she's not here or whatever, at least it will still be separated until we get somebody. Could we do that?
May I clarify something about the motion? The charter is clear. If you don't have a city manager,
She has to
the
do
mayor,
it.
city manager is no interim to it.
Okay, fine.
Right.
I remove that word out of there then, city manager, until such time, and they are looking at resumes right now. So,
I have a question. How much money, you said this is a 3 month, right? You all are spending 3 months. How much money are you saving over that 3 months?
$12,000.
enough to put in some of our other budgets. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I'm afraid we are. You're right, we do. So, anybody want to make a second?
Well, while you're sitting here talking about doing this, and if mayor fill in, shouldn't she get something, or should she come down here and work for free?
We've always worked the mayor for free anyway.
Well,
so.
this is a new day. I mean, please.
So,
What, Paul?
Well, by law, the mayor can't get paid
that's
any
right.
more than what her salary is in the charter.
You know,
So you'd have to do it for free.
oh my God. You go through a lot for free here
So-
with me.
Michelle's,
Me.
let me ask this. Michelle's contract automatically terminates on June 30th, so we would have to renew it
Yes,
or create.
an extension
extension.
or
Well,
whatever.
I don't know what the motion was.
That it ends on June 30th. That was the motion.
May I speak?
You're asking for it to end on June 30th?
Yes,
Or there's a contract in place that terminates?
It terminates. Our contract that we had with her was
You
through
didn't have a
June 30th. No contract.
Funding.
We just simply, we said it,
Approve the funding later. All right.
we set a date, and that was just simply it. We set a date of June 30th, and we gave ourselves 8 months. And everything was literally dragged along. And now we're at 8 months.
Not her
So,
fault.
I'm sorry.
Mayor, may I say something real quick? Because there seems to be some confusion here. Sharon, could you do me a favor? As the town's record keeper, could you go grab a copy of Michelle's contract real quick?
There is no contract.
Thank you.
I
There
said,
was never a contract.
it is,
Michelle said she
I just wanted to make sure,
we said,
Okay.
because I was going to raise a motion that we continue letting her work.
because what we said was to June the 30th.
Mayor, Alderman, there was never a contract, even at the beginning, which, yes, the board did retroactively pay Michelle for the time that she worked without getting paid, because Michelle never said that she was going to do it for free. She said that wasn't her intent. Her intent was helping the town. She did that. The board elected to pay her. The board set the amount. And the board agreed that by June 30th, they would have a discussion on a permanent salary for the town manager.
No.
It wasn't a contract for the town manager.
No,
It
we
was
did
just
not,
a
we did
salary.
not, we did not say that we
So
would
there
meet.
is don't get bound up in the idea that there's a contract.
Okay.
There is no contract.
I'm gonna
June
stop all
30th.
this. Point of order. I don't have my rules with me. There is a motion on the floor. We have to deal with that motion first before another motion can be made.
Unless it dies for lack of a second. If it dies for lack
Okay.
of a second.
Well,
I
we're
think-
There's
waiting
a
on,
motion on the floor.
we have to have a second.
Dies for lack of a second.
We haven't had time yet, have
Well, I think they're
It's gonna die.
thinking on it.
I was going to second.
A second. All right.
Second by Jerry.
Second, let them vote, and then there it goes, and get rid of it.
Madam Town Manager, could you take a vote? Recorder. Madam Recorder.
Second, it has been motioned that it ends June 30th, and then Lori, it then becomes the mayor/city manager until we hire someone, which is a temporary position, period.
Can I say something first?
Yes. We have a motion and a second, but go ahead.
Michelle's been doing a great job. Why do you want to just stop it right now? At the worst time you can, at the budget.
Because
How do you think
it
we're gonna
is
get
because
the budget done?
Well,
She's worked and she's worked and she's worked.
Sharon, you do the budget.
I can't do all the budget with no help.
We have
always had the mayors because they were either going as city managers. They
Well-
always helped me.
You will have Lori.
No matter which way it
All
goes,
right.
I would help you.
Are we ready to take a vote?
Alderwoman Payne,
Yes.
Alderwoman Malone,
Yes.
Alderwoman Key,
No.
Vice Mayor Adams,
No.
Alderman Johnson.
Yes.
The motion passes. Moving on to the second session of public comments. Would anyone like to speak?
Damn right I would. James Roberts, 231 Lakeview Drive, Bluff City, Tennessee. So my wife, the soon-to-be former town manager of Bluff City, now I don't have to exhibit the tact and decorum that I have. For everyone here, I want to make it clear that this tonight has been the goal of Alderwoman Payne ever since before the election. And the reason it happened was because prior to the election, Alderwoman Payne flat out asked Michelle who she was voting for in the election, her or Eric. And Michelle, being an American citizen and a veteran, exercised her right to keep that private information private and said, with all due respect, we don't disclose our votes, James nor I. And that was where the worm turned, so to speak. As far as Alderman Malone was all supportive of Michelle all the way through this, all the way up until about 2 weeks ago, whenever the company that the board is looking at having redo the video surveillance and audio surveillance and all the IT stuff for us, almost immediately after they introduced themselves at the board, Alderman Malone began soliciting them for funds for the museum. And then also, on top of that, he began calling, he didn't call the town manager, he began calling the company to find out when the meeting was going to happen down here between the mayor, their representative, and the town manager. And he reached out and said, I'm sorry, town manager, I don't know how to handle this. She suggested that he block Alderman Malone. And he said, well, I might have to do that because he's addressing us about soliciting for the museum. We were actually entertaining making a donation until he started calling us nonstop. And with all due respect, we're neighbors, but this kills me. I find it damn convenient, sir, that you make a living working construction. And because of one project that will affect you personally, that you could have abstained or offered a substitute vote for, you did not go on to the board, the Planning and Building or Planning and Zoning Commission. Instead, you throw all your support to Alderman Malone. Get him on the board, and then the very next meeting, coincidentally, happens to be a budget meeting. The first thing when it pops up about where money's going out of this town, you, sir, immediately and without hesitation, and it's on video, throw $4,000 to the museum. It's doing good things for Bluff City. So I don't want to impugn anybody. No, I take that back. I do. Michelle and I have integrity. She has worked hard for this town. She stood up when nobody else was willing to. She's given it her all. And she's been honest and fair the whole way. She's never lied to anybody in this town. And she's given support. And there's been all these projects, all these other complaints that you've been getting, some of which there are things happening that you cannot discuss in public because it is either sensitive law enforcement or, like she said, it takes time. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Mayor. Yes, I consider you a friend. I know with all my heart Michelle considers you a friend. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am sorry. I am so sorry. Not to Bluff City, because I know Michelle's improved it, but I am sorry from the bottom of my heart that I ever told you that she was better than me for this position if I would have had any indication that this is how it was going to turn out for her. That's a damn shame, folks.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Lord have mercy.
Would anyone else care to speak?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sandra Madison, 330 Godsey Road. Michelle, you're doing a good job. Get off the board.
Why?
Look how they do you. Get off the board.
What did we do to you, Carol?
Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else care to speak? Mr. Clem?
I didn't get into that.
All right. Seeing that there's no one else who would like to speak, meeting adjourned.